Welcome back to bonus content for the 6th Seal 2, The Keys of Ruin, for the Freespace Port here on Paladin Gaming. This is the system map for Ross 128 as of the start of the 3rd mission, Descent into Silence. Ross 128 is a red dwarf star located about 11 light-years from Earth in the constellation Virgo, making it one of our closest stellar neighbors. It is a relatively quiet and cool M-type star. So yeah, the star description is written from the Terran perspective, even though the rest of it is written from the Vasudan one, which is an interesting choice. Let's work from there. The intelligence report. GTCa Eternity has entered Ross 128 and jumped to a secure location. 4 hours later, the GTD Bastion transited into Ross 128 from Delta Serpentis and deployed scouting parties. She was ambushed by Shivans, pinning the Bastion down at the jump node. Significant Shivan forces are still present throughout the system, mostly concentrated around the central planets. However, intelligence believes that the SD Archon may be the only remaining Shivan capital ship in Ross 128. Eternity has detected traces of communications activity from Ross 128's inhabited planets, suggesting that the system's Terran colonies were not bombarded by the Lucifer following the GTA withdrawal. Interesting. Due to the heavy Shivan presence, GTA and PVN forces are currently unable to detect our presence. Eternity's command believes the operation can proceed without delay, but all inter-system communication infrastructure has been destroyed. The Imperial Guard is now completely isolated from higher command. But we know that, like, at least in this, as of this campaign from the last system, from the system map of Delta Serpentis, that Shivan ships other than the Lucifer have engaged in effective planetary bombardments. So that's interesting that the Shivans would not bombard the planets in Ross 128. So we'll go out through the planets and then hit the ships. I'm going to do a different order this time. Ross 128-1. Surtur. Ross 128A, or Ross 128-1, a small, extremely irradiated and partially molten planet, Surtur is covered in ashen barrens, jagged mountains, pools of magma, and hellish landscapes. Described as a biblical hell made manifest by a member of the first Terran expedition to Ross 128, the planet orbits its parent red dwarf star at a very close distance, completing a full orbit every 21.4 standard Terran days. Surtur is tidally locked to its star. Although classified as a volcanic world, Surtur does not feature true volcanoes, as its inner mantle is entirely liquid. Entire continents of less dense rock literally float on an ocean of magma, sinking beneath the surface every few thousand years. All geological formations on the surface are geologically young and appear to result from continent-wide magma floods. The planet has a choking atmosphere, and the infrequent dusty clouds occasionally release rains composed of various sulfuric oxides. Entering the planet's atmosphere is strictly prohibited by GTA authorities. Even prior to the Great War, the authorities of Ross 128 declared that no rescue missions would be launched to the surface of Surtur in the event of an unauthorized landing. Nevertheless, the planet's continents are relatively stable, making them suitable for unmanned expeditions and remotely operated missions from orbital facilities. So I guess that means manned landings are banned. Subak Innes was the first to navigate the rigorous legal process and obtain permission to construct an AI-controlled antimatter harvesting facility, which significantly reduced the cost of advanced warheads. This capability was sorely missed with the introduction of the current generation of warheads, such as the Tsunami, as control facilities on board Redview Station were abandoned shortly after the arrival of the Lucifer. Both the GTA and civilian contractors plan to regain control of the facilities, as initial scans show that no surface hardware was ever targeted by Shivan orbital bombardment. With the Junoian Parliament currently administering Ross 128 from Delta Serpentis and joint military forces advancing against Shivan-held positions in the system, interest in Surtur is expected to be renewed. William Subak, CEO and principal shareholder of Subak Innes, who apparently was not Terran-based, has expressed a desire to expand antimatter harvesting operations on Surtur's surface, while other corporations seek to exploit the planet's extreme conditions to extract rare mineral resources. Even if military operations succeed, the GTA remains skeptical of any plans to further industrialize the world, and many experts suggest that potential investments on Surtur will inevitably clash with the planet's unforgiving nature. Alright, let's see if Ross 128-2, where the Archon orbits, is any better. Ross 128-2, Melanchthon. The Ross 128b, Ross 128-2, the Rusty Earth, the Big Mars, or the Iron World, Melanchthon is an Earth-sized, dry, slightly irradiated world orbiting Ross 128 red dwarf on the verge of the habitable zone. The planet is unusually hot for a world orbiting a red dwarf at this distance, and despite frequent solar flares, it maintains relatively low levels of radiation. Additionally, deep water reservoirs regularly fuel the atmosphere with fresh vapor thanks to geological activity. Shiv, if you're watching this, this could use a spelling. All these entries could use a spelling once over. Forming clouds and encouraging long, salty rivers to flow in long canyons at continental distances. The few hidden seas of the planet look like lakes from orbit, but often extend into the endless mazes of underground corridors and chambers, leftovers of bygone volcanic activity. Melanchthon is puzzling for Terran scientists since its discovery in 2296, thanks to a surprisingly high habitability rating of 2.19. Standard theories prohibits a world of aforementioned features so close to a flare red dwarf, but geological studies suggest that Melanchthon remains in this state for a prolonged time. Conspiracy theorists suggest that the planet is a failed or abandoned xenoformation attempt, and recent discoveries of ancient civilization in Altair, Deneb, Antara, and other systems fuels further speculations, often detached from real academic debate. The world features 17 permanent tectonic plates, permanently locked in stable configuration. Melanchthon is an old world, and as such, its active volcanic period concluded over 3 billion years ago. Stable geological and atmospheric conditions attracted heavy industry eager to mine this resource-rich world for profit, and the planet was heavily exploited in the past. Arrival of Lucifer and her armada quickly drove the investments away. The few industrial cities of Melanchthon scare with decaying industrial infrastructure and abandoned domes. That doesn't make grammatical sense. The planet was once a home for over 500,000 people. A million, two L's, people, but the Great War-caused exodus forced bulk majority of the population to flee. The bulk majority of the population to flee. The rest spend long months in deep underground but self-sufficient shelters and eagerly welcome GTA and PVN forces returning to the system recently. Despite its very profitable nature, Melanchthon remains far from interest for a private sector. Its arrival of the Shivans denied the business all the possible profits from exploiting the world, including record-breaking investment of SDX exploration, estimated at 21.6 billion standard galactic credits. Although Serpentian government retained the sanction for exploitation without limit status of the planet, the industry agrees that the system holds a potential entry point for Shivan forces, an uncharted, unknown, and thus far completely elusive jump node. Although GTA and PVN valiantly oppose Shivan activity and actively monitor the system for subspace activity, Melanchthon is likely to not meet any renewal in industry's interests. Like all planets in Ross 128, the planet will remain an abandoned ghost world located in the system forever covered in grim legends about cosmic destroyers lurking in remote sectors of the system. Alright, Ross 128.3. Ross 128.3, Alkari. The unremarkable, dead, and cold world of Ross 128.3 hides a potentially interesting past. The planet never attracted much attention for exploration or colonization due to a lack of qualities that would make it appealing for activity. However, Alkar is one of the very few planets in GTA space that bears a Vasudan name. The planet was discovered early on, but explorers found nothing worth noting and simply added another cold, rocky planet to the rapidly growing list of known celestial bodies. 2 years after first contact with the Vasudan species in the Beta Aquilate system, a probe from STX Exploration surveyed the world for potential deposits of valuable minerals. What they found instead shocked the Terran authorities in the system. Alkar was inhabited by Vasudans living in 4 remote, small settlements scattered across the planet. Each of these mostly underground habitats hosted a small population of Vasudan hermits, following the strict ascetic tenets of a mostly extinct religion known as the Path of Sadokar. Attempts to establish contact were met with a response from only one group. An individual representing them stated, "We inhabit the world of Alkar, but we do not claim it. We wish no hostilities of Terran kind, nor any entities of flesh or spirit. Please leave us in peace and never return." The highly isolationist lifestyle of these Vasudan hermits required no surveillance. Despite the ongoing war, these pockets of Vasudan civilization were allowed to exist in peace as requested. Well, that's very nice of the GTA. The Great War eventually brought an end to hostilities between Terrans and Vasudans, and with it came mutual understanding. Vasudan ambassadors explain that the Parliamentary Vasudan Empire does not claim this world, and the isolated groups living on Ross 128-3 do not pledge allegiance to the Imperial throne. The path of Sardaukar favors solitary existence in a harsh environment, far from mainstream Vasudan civilization and without any means of receiving aid. Its followers believe that only solitude and the challenges posed by the cosmos can lead an individual to spiritual awakening. The Empire was not aware of the groups inhabiting this planet and suggested that there may be more such hermit communities scattered in regions bordering PvE-controlled space. The GTA proposed naming the world as the Hermits had designated it, Alcar, and Emperor Khonsu II accepted this proposal as a token of mutual respect. Researchers of Vasudan culture suggest that the Hermits of Alcar did not choose this world by accident. The planet is scarred by numerous impacts believed to be asteroid-related. However, geological analysis of Altair's 4 and Vasuda Prime suggests that Alcar may have been a victim of orbital bombardment in the distant past. Whether the world was ever inhabited by the ancients remains unknown, as no archaeological findings have indicated their presence. A joint research expedition to Alcar is planned by Vega University, aiming to uncover more about the mysterious ancient empire. Researchers of Vasudan culture suggest that the Hermits of Alcar did not choose this world by accident. Okay, that is the same paragraph repeated twice. Owners of the mod take note. Alcar is also known as the location of a recently discovered jump node to the Laramus system, a resource-rich region featuring a habitable planet accidentally discovered by GTA scientists fleeing the Shivan Advance. Of the 5 map phase locations of this node, 2 remain in close proximity to Alcar's high orbit. As such, the planet is likely to be used as a jump anchor for future exploration and colonization efforts once joint GTA PVN forces eliminate the remaining Shivan presence in the Ross 128 system. Assuming the Shivans didn't come from that direction. So I see 2 more orbits. Why is there an... Oh. Asteroid belt. Okay, so there's just an asteroid belt marked. Inner part of the system with the 4 planets. Okay. And Ross 128-4 seems to be the last planet. Ross 128-4, Nigla Suktumi, also known as the Ross 128-4 but more commonly referred to as SR5 from its work designation Stradivarius Recon 5. This planet is, as the name suggests, the 5th celestial body located by the pioneering Deep Space Reconnaissance mission, jointly conducted by WINTS Acoustics and STX Logistics. As is typical for planets named in extinct human languages, Inuktitut in this case, the work designation remains in widespread use due to its simplicity and ease of pronunciation. The planet is best known as the site of the first confirmed Shivan attack within GTA space and the initial appearance of the Lucifer super-destroyer. Nigla Shutumi was discovered later than the other planets in the Ross 128 system due to the presence of subspace anomalies in its high orbit, specifically irregular patterns of Glovko's strings. WINTS Acoustics developed phase sonic scanning technology to detect subspace spectrums precisely for such challenges. Like most celestial bodies in the Ross 128 system, Nigla Tsutumi exhibits a range of anomalies. It is a hostile, icy world devoid of atmosphere, located far beyond the habitable zone of its planet star. However, its twin rocky, low-gravity moons offer an excellent and easily accessible source of mineral wealth. Its distance from the red dwarf also protects it from frequent stellar flares, making SR5 a strategic location. These qualities led to the establishment of the infamous Riviera Station, the first Arcadia-class station in the system. Riviera soon supplanted Virginia Station, which orbited Melanchthon, becoming a hub of industry, commerce, and safety, far from the front lines of the Terran-Vasudan War. The permanent GTA presence in the system also encouraged scientific research. SR5 became the subject of numerous expeditions drawn by its unusual properties. Geological analysis revealed that the planet's icy outer layer was once liquid. SR5 is believed to have been a steamy ocean world sustained by an intense greenhouse effect, with an atmosphere relatively independent of its parent star. The planet's now frozen oceans once teemed with life, including impressive megafauna preserved in deep cryogenic states. The dense, hot, vapor-rich atmosphere was composed partially of water trapped in a transitional phase between liquid and gas. As Dr. Talcahano of Juno University once said, the oceans of SR5 once literally reached the skies. Studies indicate that this transformation occurred less than 10,000 Terran years ago, and when the atmosphere mysteriously vanished, the result was a rapid ice age, as cosmic cold consumed the planet, freezing its oceans and leaving it a lifeless husk. Scientists speculate that remnants of its aquatic biosphere may still lie buried beneath tens of kilometers of ice. Frequent anomalous radio bursts and emissions suggest that something may still be alive, or that remnants of an ancient aquatic civilization may persist. As a result, SR5 has been classified as restricted from exploitation, with deep research prohibited to prevent disruption of any surviving ecosystems. The controversial Vasudan scientist GTCa Adrastea once proposed a joint Terran-Vasudan mission to study the planet, stating that the conflict between our species must not prevent us from pursuing mutual understanding and knowledge of the voids. Though the proposal was made independently of the Imperial administration, it was quickly rejected by Terran authorities. Before his mysterious disappearance, Adrastea formed a theory based on ancient Vasudan scrolls and proposed that SR5 may have been once a colony of unknown aquatic aliens. His theory claims that the world was destroyed using advanced nanoweaponry that artificially triggered the resublimation of atmospheric vapor. Following the GTCa PV I wonder if that was they were a victim of the ancients. Following the GTCa PV truce, the Shivan invasion, and the discovery of ruins belonging to the extinct ancients on Altair 4, conspiracy theories about SR5 exploded in number and even infiltrated professional academic circles. Today, SR5 remains isolated, avoided, and surrounded by countless ship graveyards, haunting reminders of the first Shivan attack that marked the beginning of the Great War. GTCa and PVN forces continue to monitor and eliminate Shivan pockets near the planet. Anomalous subspace activity in high orbit has led to speculation about a hidden jump node used by the Shivans to enter Ross-128, though no stable point has ever been confirmed. Efforts to track the SD Archon and its fleet have further obstructed research. While Niglakatumi may one day become a subject of intense scientific interest once the Shivan threat has been neutralized, it currently remains a strange and forbidden world, shrouded in grim legend and serving as endless fuel for conspiracy theorists' imaginations. Alright, that's all the planets. Let's, jump node to there's jump node to Laramus. And the jump node to Delta Serpentis. And we'll go through the ships. Bastion. This description is, I believe, the same as the one in Delta Serpentis, so we won't read it again. Wonder if the Eternity gets a new description now that we've captured it. No, it does not. So the Adrastea and the Archon are the last two things. Yeah, we already did the intelligence report, right? Yes, we did. Do that first. Alright. SD Archon. One of the first Demon-class destroyers to attack GTA forces in Ross-128, the SD Archon's arrival heralded the start of the Great War. This vessel likely entered Terran space via an uncharted, still undiscovered jump node. However, unlike the SD Chernobog and SD Malabulge, the Archon never followed the Lucifer deeper into known space. Long-range reconnaissance missions during the Great War revealed that the Archon stayed behind in Ross-128 throughout the war, possibly serving as the control center for local Shivan activity. The Terran counter-offensive against the Archon group and the search for the Shivan entry point that accompanied it resulted in the discovery of a jump node to the uncharted Laramus system. Shivan-free and possessing a habitable jungle world, Laramus provided an excellent refuge for Admiral Habdank's GTD Nereid and a substantial refugee flotilla that escaped Ross. Contact with the remnants of the Ross-128 fleet was re-established after the Lucifer's destruction, but a full recovery operation has so far been impossible. The Nereid could always, join our offensive. The Archon appears to favor long-range bomber strikes over close-quarters engagement. The destroyer remains elusive and is heavily reliant on a fleet of Cain and Lilith-class cruisers for striking power. ISD's Shivan Affairs advisors believe that Archon's crew is ISD, Security Directorate? Imperial Security Directorate, that's it. Believe that the Archon's crew is optimizing its deployment to sustain a long-term presence in Ross-128. The vessel clearly assumed local command in the Lucifer's absence, but its actions also highlight the Demon-class destroyer's limited strategic capacity. The Archon frequently changes position and appears to avoid scouting parties. Thanks to the presence of the GTCa Inconia in Laramus, Admiral Habdank's fleet has been able to deploy patrols through the Laramus Ross-128 node to gather intelligence on key Shivan staging areas in Ross-128. This data it's interesting that Shiva's never chased him there. This data will be essential during the upcoming joint GTA PvE operation to retake Ross 128. As one of the last Shivan capital ships in Terran and Vasudan space, the Archon remains one of the highest priority targets for Allied forces. The Security Directorate Shivan Affairs advisors believe that if this pocket of Shivan activity is allowed to persist, the Archon's command and control capabilities would increase over time. Some scientists argue that this unique opportunity to observe Shivan adaptation warrants postponing the operation, but both the highest-ranking members of the GTA League of Defense and Emperor Khonsu II himself have dismissed these arguments as absurd. Available data indicates that Shivan numbers are no longer growing, aside from a few remaining vessels previously tasked with securing convoys arriving from outside known space. Joint Command agrees that ensuring the security of Terran and Vasudan systems remains a top priority. The final hunt for Archon will begin as soon as Allied forces can corner it. Well, surely the hunt's already begun if they're trying to corner it. And last thing is the hulk of the GTCa Adrastea. Adrastea, an old Sagittarius-class carrier under the command of Commander Charles Fox, Adrastea was an element of the GTA 4th Fleet Vega that disappeared under mysterious circumstances. Like most vessels of her class, Adrastea was a relic of a bygone era of warfare, providing support to frontline units with her fighter complement, but otherwise staying far from the battle zone. Originally commissioned in 2292 by the Sovereign Venusian Combine, Adrastea predates the advent of the intersystem jump drive and was one of the last Sagittarius-class carriers built during the Unification War. The vessel was part of the first Terran expedition to reach the Vega system from Beta Aquila, where she oversaw the construction of Lyra Station. So I guess she was refitted with a jump drive. The first permanent Terran military installation in the system. Adrastea is most well known for its role at the Vega engagement, where her fighter complement covered the Terran retreat after the GTD Eisenhower was destroyed. After the Vega engagement, Adrastea survived numerous deployments in Capella, Epsilon, Pegasi, and Antares. Both Terran and Vasudan sources confirmed that the Adrastea was last deployed to IKEA with her sister ship, the GTCa Aurora, 1 month before the Lucifer first appeared in Ross 128. Both ships vanished soon after. The derelict hull of the Adrastea was later discovered in Ross 128, surrounded by other derelict Terran vessels, its armor penetrated by both Shivan and Terran weapons fire. The ISD Canada explained how the Adrastea got from IKEA to Ross 128 completely undetected. ISD's Terran Affairs advisors conjectured that the ship may have been destroyed elsewhere and covertly towed to Ross 128 during the Great War to obscure the involvement of unknown Terran factions. An alternate, less likely possibility is that the vessel was secretly redeployed to Ross 128 following its mission in IKEA. The latter scenario creates more questions than answers. The journey from IKEA to Ross 128 requires 5 intersystem jumps through the contested Antares and Ribos systems, with at least one stop to refuel. Such a voyage would be near impossible to conceal, and a review of PV and intelligence reports found no indicia of either the Adrastea or Aurora being present in either system. The investigation into Adrastea and the recovery of her cargo is the primary reason for the covert deployment of the Imperial Guard into the Ross 128 system. Our superiors have specifically ordered us to secure the ship's cargo before the joint GTA PV and task force gains the upper hand in the ongoing battle of Ross 128. If GTI gets there first, they are unlikely to share their results, as data obtained from Terran defectors indicate that records of this final deployment were classified at level Rho. Alright, so this is the system map of Ross 128 as of the start of the third mission of the 6th CL2, the Keys of Ruin campaign for the Freespace Port here on Paladin Gaming. And this is Paladin Gaming signing off.